Welcome to the Legislate podcast, a place to learn about the latest insights and trends in business, technology, and contract drafting. Today, I'm excited to welcome Ricardo Fayet on the show. Ricardo is a co-founder and CMO at Reedsy, a friendly place for authors to learn, create, and market the best indie books. Ricardo, thank you for taking the time. Please, can you share a bit of background about yourself and Reedsy?
No, thanks for having me on the show. We started Reedsy in 2014, so it's been 8 years now, so 8, 9 years. Well, yeah, it's been a while, basically. We're four founders at the time, still are the same four founders, and the idea hasn't really changed that much. It's still to create a place where authors can come to and find all the services they need to successfully self-publish a book. So from the editing, the proofreading, the cover design, down to the marketing and eventually translation or ghostwriting for future books or author website design, a marketplace where they can find freelancers for all kinds of services. Then we started adding a lot of content and free tools for authors and publishers to be able to make the most of that marketplace. And the marketplace is still the number one place where we generate revenue and the number one thing we're known for in the publishing world.
It's really interesting. And you recently made the FT 1000 fastest growing companies, and I saw on your website or on your LinkedIn that you've got over 1 million authors. Are you able to share any, stats or numbers on the impact you've had?
Yeah, I think we get around 3,000 authors every month who hire someone through our marketplace, and so at any given time we've got over 1,500 professionals actively working through the marketplace. Some of these are full-time through Reedsy. They make a living working through us. So that's always a great feeling when you talk to them, because you've kind of enabled their career. I mean, they could have freelanced on their own, but if they get all their work through Reedsy, it's always a nice thing to hear, and others just use it to complement. So maybe they work in traditional publishing, but traditional publishing doesn't pay super well, so they have a side hustle as a freelancer if their employment contract permits it, obviously. I think around 1,500 freelancers working on the marketplace at any given time is the main thing we're proud of right now.
Congratulations. And what's been your favorite moment so far?
There's been a lot of favorite moments. January is always a good month for us in terms of growth, with people making a resolution to write or publish a book that year. So any month of January is usually a good moment. Favorite moment might be when we launched our writing tool, the Reedsy Book Editor, back in 2015, I think 2015, or 2016. And I remember our designer Matt worked all night on the product, and we were living all three founders together in a flat. So we spent all night working on it to fix some last minute bugs. And I woke up early to start the promotion of the tool. So that was a pretty intense day. But it was quite fun to have a new product release like that, and it ended up with some good adoption right away.
Yeah, new product releases are always exciting and nerve-wracking because you never know how it's going to be received.
Yeah,
but marketing is always really important. Obviously, it's been some time now since you started the company with your co-founders. What do you wish you had known before starting Reedsy?
I wish I'd known more about marketing in general, and probably SEO in particular, because we had a blog from day one, because one of our investors, Carlos Espinal from Seedcamp, told us that we had to basically educate people as to what goes into publishing a book, because you can't just have a marketplace with people you can hire if you have no idea what these people do and why they're important, etc. So we started a blog and we started interviewing those people, but I mean, very few people read the blog. It was more people who used our product then went on to read the blog, rather than the blog being a lead generation asset or anything like that. So I think a couple of years later, we came across a good article on SEO, and we started implementing some advice. And from then on, everything we've written and published on the blog has been optimized for a specific search term. or search topic. And since then, we've had like phenomenal growth on the blog, and it's our number one acquisition channel on content marketing and SEO. So yeah, I wish we'd done that sooner. But yeah, that's also how you learn. It's part of the process, right?
Yeah, we SEO has also been really important for us, and we had a blog from day one to educate, but without any real background in SEO. And yeah, I've definitely found the learning journey very interesting, but agree there's lots of things that if you implement from day one, then it obviously makes your life a lot easier.
Yeah.
But great. And obviously, so the company's been around for some time. You've reached success. You've built various products and have the marketplace. What's the vision for the company for the next 5-10 years?
The vision is to keep going with the marketplace. We want to add more services to it, like audiobook narration, for example, or audio editing. Audiobooks are very fast growing format right now. And then we've got some big plans this year to launch a writing course, because right now, obviously, our blog attracts a lot of aspiring authors, people who want to know how to write a book, how to write, how to do creative writing, how to write fiction. We've got a short story contest as well, so we've got a lot of people writing short stories. But in order to make full use of a marketplace, we need people who have a finished novel, right? So we're going to launch a paid course on how to write a novel, and maybe do a few more courses on craft like that to try to bridge the gap between those aspiring authors we have and the marketplace of professional services, and to develop a new income stream. So I think that's going to be fun and probably a game changer for the company. And we're going to work more on our writing tool as well to make it collaborative, so that authors who hire an editor through Reedsy can just have them work within the tool. It looks a little bit like Google Docs, but aimed for books with chapters and parts in the sidebar. So hopefully we manage to replace Microsoft Word in the writing and editing process, which it's obviously a challenge, but it's such a dreadful tool for writing books, and it's great for documents, but for writing books, it's terrible. So hopefully we have the ambition to replace that at some point.
Well, best of luck. And talking of contracts, as a co-founder, I imagine you interact with contracts quite a bit. What are the key ones, and have you encountered any friction, or do you have any lessons you can share about them?
Yeah, I mean, the main contracts we interact with on a weekly basis probably are employment or consultancy contracts, so people who work for the company, and we hire quite a bit. For those, we had a lawyer draft them up early on, or kind of give us a template. And then we've been using those templates, whether for employment or consultancy contracts. We recently opened a subsidiary in France as well to be able to have some French employees, and so same thing. We work with lawyers over there to draft the initial contracts, and then we kind of use the templates. And then we've had some contracts with other companies, but we don't do that much B2B. So usually it's on a case-by-case basis. Usually we'll have the other company supplying it. If they want us to sign an NDA, they can supply an NDA. If they want a commercial agreement contract for, I don't know, an affiliate partnership or something like that, if they supply that, we'll review it and we may sign it. But usually for commercial agreements for affiliate programs and things like that, we don't usually sign contracts unless the other party wants to. And then the more interesting bit maybe is the contracts on our marketplace. So when an author hires a freelancer, what we did is we wanted there to be some contracts, some standard kind of terms for when authors hired freelancers through Reedsy, and so we incorporated those within our terms of use. So when they accept an offer, they have to accept the mandatory terms of the collaboration, and then freelancers can attach special terms that may override certain terms. And that's worked quite well because it provides a certain level of protection for our freelancers. They don't have to worry about providing their own contract to have an author hire them. But they also have the flexibility especially for collaborations or on ghostwriting or translation, which can be a lot more expensive and can involve things such as NDA or moral rights and foreign law as well for translation, that they have this option to add their own terms that will override ours.
And do you find that there's any negotiation between the freelancers and the authors, and are there any sort of tension that they sort of have to figure out themselves, or do you sort of intervene?
Yeah, sometimes there's negotiation. I would say that the main negotiation obviously is on price and potentially payment plans, especially for longer projects so that they pay once a month. Maybe some negotiation on the upfront fee, but the main negotiation is really on the overall price when there's something. Then sometimes there are authors who are gonna require NDAs, or some kind of NDA or some kind of contract before hiring the freelancer. Usually, and in our experience, 99% of the time, it's a bad sign, because it means the author thinks they have this incredible story that no one else has, and that is worth millions on its own without even being written yet. And so some people are going to still sign an NDA. We have had some cases in the past of like editors signing an NDA to discuss the project and all that, but usually they don't end up hiring that editor. Like, it's people when people are so worried about their idea and the protection of their idea, it makes it hard for them to trust an editor. It makes it hard for the editor to enter into a trusting relationship with them as well. So that's when there's negotiation on contracts or legal things. It's usually not a bad sign. It's usually not a good sign for neither us or the freelancer.
That's a very interesting insight.
When we started Reedsy, we knew nothing about the industry, so we spent a year interviewing people from the industry, agents, authors, editors, and we never asked for an NDA. In some of these calls, we disclosed the idea, quite frankly. In others, we didn't, because we thought that person could have been potentially, a threat down the line. But most of these calls, we just disclose the idea and ask, is it a good idea or not? And I think entrepreneurs are too often worried about hiding their idea, when at any given time there's at least 3 or 4 other people in the world who have this idea as well and want to build something. And usually there's people who've built it before, and that's actually a good sign. It means that there's probably a market for it, right? So yeah, I find a lot of people worry about legalese, about NDAs, copyrights, trademarks in the beginning a lot more than they should, when that stuff can come later down the line.
Well said. Ricardo, I'm conscious that I've already taken a lot of your time, so I'm going to ask you the closing question we ask all our guests. If you're being sent a contract to sign today, what would impress you?
I think brevity and presentation, probably. If it's well presented, if it's easy to read, and easy to understand as well. I feel a lot of contracts are unnecessarily complicated with 10 clauses that could be said in one. If you need the contract to be ironclad, then yeah, you may need to have all these clauses in there, but that's not a contract that you receive and you're impressed by. That's usually followed. It's after weeks of negotiation, right? But if I'm sent a contract, I need it to be simple, simple to read, simple to understand, well presented, well formatted. Yeah, nothing too fancy, basically, but clear and concise.
Nothing too fancy except for the presentation.
Exactly. I mean, by presentation, I mean everything. The indents are on the same place. Stuff is well aligned. Yeah, basics.
That's the response I'd expect from a publisher.
Right.
But yeah, no, exactly. I think the presentation is really important, and it's something that at Legislate we try to do, and obviously we try to make the presentation of the contracts themselves good, and we'll be introducing shortly a modern view or a classic view, depending on your preference. But we also try to represent the data and the information in the contract visually beyond the actual text, and yeah, it's something where we can definitely improve, and it's really key to impressive contracts.
I agree.
So great. Well, thank you very much, Ricardo, for being on the show, and best of luck launching your new products and conquering the world.
Thank you very much for having me on the show, and best of luck with Legislate.
Thank you. Bye bye.